Here's another exam style programming question where we need to write a bit of Python code. So in this case, we're now on dance judges. So the dance judges need to enter a score and then add the total together. There are 4 judges. Each of them need to enter a score in turn for a particular dancer. The scores should be 1 to 10, whole numbers only. If a judge enters a lower number than 1 or higher than 10, so out of range, so we're going to do a range check here. Then they need to re-enter, so we'll need some kind of loop to do that, a while loop probably. So when each of the 4 judges has correctly entered a score, the score should be output as a total. So we need to add up all the scores and output it with a print statement. So the example that's given is all 4 judges score 5. The output should be total of 20. So probably start with a variable. Score equals 0, so start with a score variable, and then because we know how many times we want, there are 4 judges, we can use a for loop for this. So we could say for I usually use I to stand for increment, but you can use anything, could be count. So for I in range, and then I like to usually start my range and end it 1 to 5. So that'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 for us. You could just say for I should be in there in range 4, and that would do the job just as well. So for I in range 1, 5, let's call it judge score equals, it's going to be a number, so we want an integer for our input. And we'll say enter score. So I'm not going to bother writing out, enter it between 1 and 10. You don't need to do that in the exam. As long as you've got the correct input statement, correct amount of closed brackets, etc., you're going to be okay. So the next thing we want to do, we've got a judge score. So we now want to make sure that it's between 1 and 10. So this is where we're going to go with our while loop. So let's say while judge score less than 1, or judge score greater than 10. So this is our while loop. So we need to indent again. And basically we're going to just get them to put it in again. So judge score equals int input enter score. So we've got the input again. So that's our while loop finished. So notice we've got the for loop that we've indented, and we've got the while loop we've indented. So now we're done with that while loop. So we want to do our adding because we've got a correct number. So we can add this in here, score equals score plus judge score. And then finally coming back here to the first indent, we're going to print out score is, and I'll just concatenate that on. And there we go, we've done what we need to do, I think, on that one. So we're probably going to score for having correct variable names. We'll score points for using a counter-controlled loop, and it doesn't matter how you've done that there. You'll score points for getting the score from the judges in the correct place, for using the while loop to check, and probably 1 for using the correct OR statement to do that. 1 for doing the calculation, possibly 1 for outputting correctly at the end. So I've got 6 marks there. There might be another one involved in this for design, so you might get 7 altogether. So we'll say +1 for design. And that design could be that we've got sensible variable names, we've used a for structure, etc. Something of that nature. So there's another one of those. Hopefully you found that one not too bad.